you said about what's next for the Burgeners, I think, so Mike's gym, Sage's gym, the CrossFit weightlifting courses, all of that is just surrounded inside of Burgener Strength. So Burgener Strength is really sort of what we're trying to develop. You know, eventually we want to start holding camps here, which I think would be so much fun.
Amazing.
Yeah, keep doing the courses and then keep building our competitive team. And we've talked about like opening a facility nearby where this is all just dreaming big, but
dream big, and then you might hit the moon, right?
Yeah, exactly. I think that's how this.
Something about the stars and the moon. You shoot there, and then you get there.
Dream big
and the lottery.
Oh yeah. What's it at right now?
Yeah.
Coaches, and I'm the assistant coach.
I thought you were the head coach.
No,
I
I'm
was.
the head coach.
Used to be.
I
Not
mean,
anymore.
so you're the head coach now, or the head coach later?
Did you turn that thing off?
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, how are you guys?
Good.
Welcome to the podcast. I'm just going to jump right into it.
Okay.
Good.
So,
Go for it.
Yeah, we're here on the What Drives You Project podcast. And what we do is we try to find everybody's stories and share them with the world. And you guys have a pretty amazing story in general. Got a couple generations of weightlifters, and now, I don't know, you guys teach CrossFit and all the different things. Can one of you give us a little history of like who you are, what you do?
We'll go with you, Dad, on that.
How far back do you want to go?
I mean, Coach B, you're kind of the man with the hat.
I'm
Yes.
the man with the hat. Well, the CrossFit end of it has started, I believe, in 2005 or 2006 with Coach Glassman asking USA Weightlifting if he could hold a USA Weightlifting Club Coaches course at my school. And he contacted me, and he came down, and we gave him and his athletes, I think there were about 20 of them, and Nicole, Greg Amundsen were all part of that.
Greg Amundsen, nice.
Greg Amundsen, they were all part of that group. Tony Budding, and after that weekend, Coach and I became very good friends, and he invited me to do a seminar with him out in Golden, Colorado.
Okay.
And after that seminar, he had informed me that he was going to start doing once a month seminars at CrossFit Santa Cruz, I believe it was, his main box. And he asked me if I wanted to be part of it, and I said yes. And that basically is the way it started. And then a year later, he asked me if I wanted to, continue on, but he was going to change the format to 3 days to 3-day workshops to 2-day workshops. And so we switched to 2 days. I started scheduling my own seminars, my own workshops, and gosh, we've been doing it since 2006, 2007.
2018, now that's a long time.
Yeah.
Damn.
Did you change it at all from the USAW course to when it became a CrossFit course? Did you change it at all, or did you keep the same structure of the course?
No, well, the structure that I believed in is the same structure that I taught in my PE classes, which is very fundamental driven. But USA Weightlifting had their own curriculum, basically. So the structure that I switched over to in CrossFit was the same structure and the same curriculum, same lesson plans, basically, with some modifications that I used in my PE classes. The difference is that in my PE classes, they got 18 weeks of information. It took me 18 weeks to give that information out. And so in the CrossFit world, in my courses, I gave 18 weeks of information in 2 days. So it's a little bit more intense and struggling, but hey, it's the same information and it works, and it's it's very sophisticated but very simple at the same time.
Speaking of condensing stuff, actually, I heard a random story, and this involves you, Sage. So we're gonna go.
I love stories about me.
I know, right? God, I'm so conceited. My name is Sage. Wonder where you get it from.
I know. What?
What?
What'd you say?
Say what?
How did the Burgener warm up come about? Like the naming of it and stuff. I heard this had something to do with.
Well, I actually just learned this the other day.
Really?
Yeah, I didn't even know that I named the Burgener warm up until my dad told me.
He tells a story like to everyone, even
I
at the
know.
seminars. And you didn't know that?
Yeah, I didn't know.
Do you want to retell the story?
I don't even really know the story other than my dad came up with this warm up, and I was like, hey, I have a really good idea. Why don't we call it the Burgener warm up? And he's like, this is why you're my favorite child, Sage. And then we went on to name it the Burgener warm up. I may have added in a few parts, but I'm pretty sure that's how the story went down.
Right. Do you want to tell the whole story?
Well, the story is that the Burgener warm-up and the skill transfer exercises have been in my curriculum since God was a corporal. I mean, it was just one of those things that it was always the same 5 movement patterns. They all had a specific reason for doing it, but it was just a warm-up. It was what they did in my PE classes when, before we started school. They did the junkyard dog, which I got off of a Polish weightlifting tape.
Yeah.
That was developed by Harlan Savary, the guy that did the.
How do you say
the
junkyard
pads.
dog in Polish?
A junkyard, a dog. Yeah.
Okay, and you make fun of me for being. Anyway.
Yeah. That's the way you say it.
Junkyard doggo.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
But anyway, so that's basically the story, and we did that every day. We did the junkyard. The kids would come running up from my PE classes, which is about a quarter of a mile.
Mm-hmm.
That was their basic warm up. They did the junkyard dog, which is the jumping over the arms and then jumping over the body and crawling under the arms. They did that. And then they went right into the PVC pipe and did the Burgener warm-up and the skill transfer exercises. But we didn't call it the Burgener warm-up. We didn't call it the skill transfer exercises. There were just 10 exercises that they had to do on a daily basis before they did anything else, and that was just the protocol.
Yeah.
So when CrossFit came along, I think Coach Glassman or somebody said, well, what is this called? And I said, we don't have a name for it. And then later on I came home, or however the story goes, I can't even remember back that far. But anyway, Sage says, well, why don't you call it the Junkyard Dog, Daddy? And I said, okay, that's what it is. Or call it the Burgener warm-up.
Yeah.
And I said, yeah, all right. We called it the Junkyard Dog because that's what,
You did.
basically what it was in that Harlan Savary called it, in his video from years and years ago. So
That's good. So let's segue a little bit over. So we know who Coach is now. Who are you? Who are you,
Who
young
am
lady?
I ask myself that every morning in
Do
the
you?
mirror. Who am I?
Is that like a man in the mirror thing, like Michael Jackson?
Yes, exactly.
Start to-
Who am I? I'm basically just a female version of my father, I would say.
So for those that don't know and don't have the video, this is Sage Burgener.
Yes.
Coach B's daughter.
Yeah, I'm Sage Burgener. So I grew up in this gym, in this garage gym, and I remember people just being here all the time, day in and day out, and loving to be the center of attention. That started from when I was very young. I always had to be out here with everybody just shooting the shit and watching them lift and trying to do the same thing. And I actually don't even really remember learning the Olympic lifts. So whenever I talk to people, they're like, God, you're so lucky that you got to learn this at such an early age. I wish that was the case. I actually envy people who can learn this sport later in life.
And like quicker, in a way?
Well, no, not necessarily quicker, but just to have something that you can get into later in life that's very challenging, that can challenge you physically and mentally. And then on top of that, you get to compete in it as well.
Yeah.
That fills such a void for, I think, specifically people who were athletes in high school and elementary school and are looking for that next thing. But yeah, I came in every day and
Did Coach just trick you into like learning everything?
Yeah, honestly, it was really weird. So I did my very first seminar by myself when I was 14 years old.
Wow.
And I was really nervous about it because I'm like, I've never done this before. I've just always been the demo girl for my dad. ever since I was little, at the USAW courses and then on to the CrossFit courses, I was just always demo. And then someone said, well, we want you to come up and do a seminar. And I was so nervous, like, how am I going to structure this? And as soon as I started, all the words just flowed through me. It was like I could just black out and knew exactly what to say. I don't remember learning how to coach it. It was just all through years and years of hearing my dad say the same thing over and over and over again. And then I remember when I was really young, just a faint memory of my dad being like, you have a really good eye. And that kind of just sparked this interest for me, like, oh, I do see things that I don't think other people normally see. And then that just inspired me to try to become a coach and, you know, carry on his legacy.
Your legacy.
Yeah.
Just right here. Well, I mean, you're one part of the legacy, right? So there's Cody, your brother, and Bo. And Casey, excuse me, thank you. So what's the direction right now for like the Burgeners in general? Like what's Mike's gym doing? What's the rumor now, or the slight talks of Sage's gym taking over?
That's very slight talk.
Oh, okay. See.
What do you think, Dad? What do you?
Well, it's if you take a look at your life on a bell-shaped curve, so to speak, and you know, I look at my life as being very blessed, but I'm on the downside of the bell-shaped curve, basically, when it comes to coaching and, you know, teaching and doing all those other things that are important.
I still listen to you all the time.
Well, it is what it is, and you just kind of go along with the flow. You can't hold it back. There's nothing you can do about it anyway. So, but you want to pass on, and, you know, be there for support. And Sage is here. She lives, you know, close by, and she has the interest and the desire to carry on Mike's gym and really Sage's gym and that whole Burgener Strength program. And, you know, Casey's in the Navy and Cody's a firefighter in D.C. and Bo's traveling the world doing the CrossFit weightlifting gig. And so it's just a natural flow of things to come. And she has more interest in doing the coaching and the teaching part of it and building of a weightlifting team and a program than any of the other three do. So, you know, it's just a natural flow of things. But, you know, I want to get back to basically what she said. As a father and as a coach, I can remember being in this gym and Sage being outside running around with a dog that we had called Two Socks. And it was a wolf hybrid, basically, is what it was. And
like one of those big actual wolves?
I mean, it was a big actual wolf that had two socks. It was a half wolf, half dog, basically. But we got him as a pet. My wife picked him up at Daniel's, for God's sake, in the parking lot and brought him home for the kids. And Sage would run around and play with Two Socks, and she'd run in here and pick up a PVC pipe and snatch it. And then she'd throw it on the ground and run back out and play with Two Socks. And that was basically the way they grew up, because we had Olympians in here. We had the whole national volleyball team in here at one time. And so, I mean, all the kids came to the gym just to see what was going on, and then they kind of just, on their own, came in. We really didn't make them do weightlifting, but if they were going to do other sports, which they had to do other sports to keep busy, then they had to do weightlifting to help prevent injury and hopefully enhance performance in those other sports. Yeah. But every one of them gravitated to weightlifting too.
Yeah, that's true.
And kind of back on what you said about what's next for the Burgeners, I think, so Mike's gym, Sage's gym, the CrossFit Weightlifting courses, all of that is just surrounded inside of Burgener Strength. So Burgener Strength is really sort of what we're trying to develop. You know, eventually we want to start holding camps here, which I think would be so much fun.
Amazing.
Yeah, keep doing the courses and then keep building our competitive team. And we've talked about like opening a facility nearby where this is all just dreaming big, but
dream big, and then, you know, you might hit the moon, right?
Yeah, exactly. I think that's how this.
Something about the stars and the moon. You shoot there, and then you get there.
Dream big
and the lottery.
Oh yeah. What's it at right now?
Yeah. No kidding. Yeah, so having this big facility where it's basically you get invited to come. It's not like a CrossFit gym, but you get invited to come. We'd have like a wine bar and a coffee bar and a restaurant and like some of our
Coach, I'm
family
getting invited, right?
members. I don't know.
I
It
don't know.
depends.
Come on, did you get?
Maybe
Depends on how
Aaron
nice.
might, but I'm
Oh,
not sure about
he's
that.
Yeah.
the other brown kid. Okay, I'm like the third one.
Yeah.
Sorry, interrupted.
But my brother Bo he's so business minded.
Mm-hmm.
None of us have any idea where he got this skill from. We're like, just recently, all of a sudden, we're like, wow, you're a businessman. Nobody knew this about you.
Bo turned into an entrepreneur.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
So he's the business minded one. My dad has built this base and this foundation for us. I'm obviously the face of the company. So
Just you just like whip your hair. I mean, you're the hat, she's the face, right?
exactly. Yeah. So just kind of seeing where all that goes, but just, as a family trying to build a business together. So
That's good. That's great. I mean, so talking about specifically like the business and Burgener Strength, so you have a team now currently that you're developing. So can we talk about that? Like who are they, or like what your plans are for them as part of Burgener Strength? Because that's a portion to it, right? So what's going on with that?
yeah, it was really weird. When we moved back to San Diego almost a year and a half ago, I had some remote athletes, and then I had a small team over in Hawaii where we were living before. And then just all of a sudden, I got these random people who had no connection to one another, who all sort of reached out to me within this 3 to 4 month period. And before I knew, I was like, gosh, I have so many people, I need a place to actually train them. And most people kind of come into weightlifting and they want to improve their technique to get better at CrossFit, and then they kind of taper out and continue the CrossFit route. But all of these, some young, some old people that asked to train under me have just sort of stuck around, which is so rare in the sport of weightlifting. And they really, the vibe of the group really brought me back to the days when we would train in here Monday through Saturday, 2 to 3 hours a day. We were all just sitting in here every single day, just grinding. No music, just talking, shooting the shit, training hard.
It's not like the booty popping music that you're playing today.
No, that's
and all that
definitely
kind of
more the newer generation.
I mean, Coach, you got to take over that radio.
Oh,
So,
God.
country back.
He loves it. He twerks all the time.
Yeah, I twerk.
Do you?
No.
He does. We're trying to teach him.
Just don't do that.
Yeah. But, and it just got me really excited because I felt like these are the type of people that are going to stick with it. And they're also driven. Some of them have really big aspirations to, go to the Olympics, qualify for nationals, make international teams. And then we have some of them who are literally just trying to be the best version of themselves, compete in local competitions, and they just want to train hard. You know, they have lots of stuff going on in their other parts of their lives, but they come into the gym and they work their ass off and try to be the best version of themselves. So the level of commitment and the level of athleticism and the level that they're capable of going to is such a wide spectrum. But I think the common thread amongst all of us is that we're just trying to call each other out on our shit so we can just be the best version of ourselves.
Yeah.
I don't know if that answers your question. I kind of just...
I mean, you kind of went off, but
I
that's
really
that's the
did.
whole point of it. Like, I kind of want you to go off.
I did. I rambled.
I mean, I'd ask Coach, like, does that remind you of, like, when you first started your gym, like Mike's gym? I mean, it's a great way that she's bringing these people in. Or, like, I mean, you technically, from what you just said, like, you attracted them in, right?
Yeah, I don't go out and seek out athletes. I don't have time for that. But I think...
Anybody else? I hear that.
Yeah, ain't nobody got time for that.
Oh, yeah.
But I think when we go to competitions, people see our... I freaking hate this word, but like they see our vibe. They feel our vibe when we're there. We're just vibing,
Don't
you
you
know?
like just energy or something?
Yeah, exactly.
There you go.
Like our energy is very contagious, and people tend to gravitate towards us. I've had so many people that have been like, "Hey, I saw all you guys at the competition, and everyone seems so supportive, and we're definitely the loudest in the crowd." And I think people want to feel a part of something like that.
Yeah.
You know, we all have this love for weightlifting, but it's really just about the team, and that's what draws people in, and that's how I feel that I've attracted just these completely random people. We're all so different from each other, you know?
That's good. So that sounds familiar?
Yeah, well, it's a whole different scenario because when when we started here, we moved into this house. We built this house in 1985, and I was a school teacher at Rancho Buena Vista High School.
Okay.
And I was a strength coach over there. And so I'd go to work at 6 in the morning. I'd start out by going to Palomar and teach a class at Palomar for spending money, basically, and to help pay the bills. And then I'd go to school, teach my classes, and then I'd come home at 6, 7 o'clock at night.
Yeah.
Well, at the time, I had 2 babies. I had Casey was 3, and Bo was just born. And my wife was, she said, you're never seeing your kids, because I'd leave before they get up, and I'd come home, and they'd already be in bed, basically. And well, what do you want me to do? She said, well, I want you to build a gym here. So this garage then became a gym.
Yeah.
And we started collecting equipment, building and buying equipment. And at the time, I was really big in the NSCA, and I got invited to speak at conferences and things like that. And any amount of money that I made from teaching driver's education to speaking on the circuit or whatever, I put back into the gym.
Wow.
So I'd go to work at 6 in the morning and teach at Palomar, and then I'd come home at 3:30, 4 o'clock in the afternoon, and then all these kids would follow me home. So the team basically started from that.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, Tommy Goff, who was a 96 Olympian, started training here, and then there was a guy by the name of Tom Jadwin and Tom Protonov, who were Olympic javelin throwers. They started training here. Brett Noon was a All-American shot putter at Fallbrook High School. He started training here. We just started getting a lot of people. And so when you get athletes at that caliber that enjoy the coaching and the teaching and the environment, all of a sudden everybody wants to come. They want to be part of it.
Yeah. So it's starting to, I guess, your energy can say got gravitated towards Sage's energy, and now you guys have like so much energy that you're just bringing all. I gotta stop saying energy. Look what you made me do.
We're this huge energy field.
It's just like a hippy dippy energy field that we want people to get into.
But that's true because you really, when you walk up here, there's no expectations.
Mm-hmm.
The only expectation we have, I suppose, is that we want you to listen while you're here. When you leave here, you can go back and do whatever you want. But we're going to tell you what we see, what we think that you can do better, and what your weaknesses are, what your strengths are, and you can take it or leave it. But while you're up here, at least take in the coaching that you have, and people are very open to trying to make themselves better than.
Yeah, I feel like there's maybe been a handful of people that have come up here and just don't take in the coaching, but most people who come up here leave their ego at the bottom of the hill, and they just do a great job of trying to absorb everything that they can.
And it's okay not to take in what we say, because look at this environment. This is a 2-car garage with some change on the outside. Look at all the bumper plates, the shoes. This is it's a museum, so to speak.
It's a beautiful museum.
Yeah, but and it's a great place to train. So the environment out in the country with the view, with the coaching, whether you take the coaching or not, we really don't care. Yeah. If you don't want to take the coaching, but you just want to come and lift, come out, have at it. We don't have any expectations for you other than, be safe, clean up your mess, do what you're going to do. But,
don't be an asshole.
No.
What? I took all of your guys' coaching cues today.
Well, we didn't say you.
Right?
We didn't say anything.
Just because I looked right at you.
Yeah, just because that's the way you are, Abdul.
No, it's just sometimes I want to be better for you.
You and Raymond.
Raymond is the whinier one of the two of us. You guys, if many of you know who Raymond
I think that's just the way his voice sounds. I don't think he's actually whining.
We'll get him on the podcast and we'll have other people judge who Raymond Regno is. He's on staff. He's one of your staff members.
One of our best coaches. He's outstanding.
We call him the Asian Burgener.
Yeah, he really is very knowledgeable. We love him. He does a great job for us. We feel and sense his loyalty to
he has
CrossFit
way better
weightlifting.
movement patterns than all of the Burgeners combined.
Bo's pretty good.
Yeah, but Ray's better.
Okay, fine. I mean, it's because we're Asian. It's because we got that Pinoy in us.
Yeah, exactly.
We can sit and poop.
Well, of all the Asians, Natalie, or all the Burgeners, Natalie's probably the best.
Yeah, and of all the Asians, Natalie's the best. She's not Asian.
She's not Asian at all. It's like that name even sounds white.
Well, that's
Yeah.
even level 2 gymnast, or level 10.
10
gymnast,
gymnasts,
right?
yeah.
10? Who's this?
Natalie Burgener.
Oh, yes,
Casey's
sorry.
wife.
Casey's wife. Yeah, sorry.
Yeah, do your homework, Abdul.
You know, I did as much homework as I could, and then I got really tired on the way up the hill. Actually, speaking of the hill, I mean, besides, we'll bring up like some old workouts that you make all the geezers do and stuff.
Oh God.
Ooh. But I mean, you're open to inviting a lot of people up here, but not many people know that it's really an open forum in a way. Like, what's the day? What's the time? what do you got to do? What do you got to do?
To come here?
To be graced with the presence of, like, you know, Coach B or Sage.
Well, Wednesday mornings at 10 a.m. we open this place up, and my dad never charges. It's his way of giving back, you know, to CrossFit for all that they've done for him and our family. But yeah, there's no requirements. You could have never done a snatch in your whole entire life and still come up. And I think just having, like we said, a desire to learn and the ability to listen and a love for the sport, that's all you really need to have to come up. Yeah. My team comes up at different days, so normally I recommend people come up on a Wednesday just so I can see how they move and kind of get the feel out for their personality and their goals and everything like that. And then from there, if they have an interest in training further with me, then I invite them to come and train with the team.
Cool. That's great. What about you, Coach?
Yeah, just if you want to come up anytime other than Wednesday, just give us a call. And I'm retired now, you know, and so it's the ability to, after the geezer workouts on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, you know, then give me a call, give me a shout out.
Tell us about the geezer workouts. How do you? Tell us about them, because most of the time I always look at them and I'm like, ugh. Not even, I wouldn't. Sometimes. Yeah. I would, actually. Yeah. I would. I'd take the challenge.
Well, the challenge is there, and it's obviously that the geezers are an age group. Yeah. You know, and if you're 50 to 59, you're a geezer in training, basically. And if you're 60 to 64, you're a geezer. 65 to 69, you're a super geezer. Ooh. And if you're 70 to 74, you're a stud geezer. And I'm a stud geezer, so I'm 72, so I named the stud geezer. And then if you're 75 plus, you're a super stud geezer.
I wonder what you're going to name the next thing.
Dead.
You'll always be.
Whoa! Just kidding. Whoa!
Inappropriate.
Dead stud awesome geezer.
Stud awesome geezer.
Yeah.
You know, day-to-day stud geezer, whatever.
I mean, we could see the geezers. I mean, you post some of the workouts from time to time too. Yeah.
I put a workout on, you know, Monday, Wednesday, and Friday for us, and they vary. It's a very basic course, and we might name the workout Cindy. You know, Cindy's 5, 10, 15, but instead of doing 5 pull-ups, which not a lot of the geezers can, some still can. Yeah. You know, they'll pick out an exercise that they can do for 5 reps. It might be 5 deadlifts with a trap bar.
Nice.
You know, so it's something that they can achieve. Mm-hmm. So they'll do 5 of something, 10 of something, and 15 of something, as many rounds as you can get in 20 minutes. So we will do that, or we might do an Angie. So now you've got, 4 exercises at 100 reps.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The other day we had one which was just an ass kicker. And we did it on a Wednesday. And I had one of my old students from high school in 1986. 1985, she was one of my students.
Was that Beth?
No, Beth was one of mine, but she was at Rancho. This girl was at Vista High School, and she now lives in Indianapolis, and she came back for her 30-year high school reunion. Nice. So she called me up, and she wanted to come up and do a workout and just say hello, because I hadn't seen her in 30 years. Yeah. And so she came up, and we did a workout, and the workout was ball slams, and we did 100 ball slams, but I did 10, she did 10, I did 10, she did 10 for 100 reps. Yeah. And then we did ring rows, 10 ring rows, and 10 squats, for 100 reps. Yeah. And it kicked my ass. I mean, and it was as fast as we could go with the rest. So, you know, I'd do my squats and she'd do her ring rows, and then we'd switch it out.
That's almost harder than going 100 straight,
Oh,
because
yeah.
you have to go faster since you get the rest.
Well, it was really interesting because we did 10 sets of 10, obviously, but it was, you didn't get a lot of rest. You know, you got maybe 15 seconds after you went all out for 10. But then on Friday, I said, well, okay, that was tough. I want to see how fast it would take me to do 100 reps without stopping. Well, you have to stop, you know. So, but I did using the 20-pound ball. I did 20-pound ball for 62 reps without stopping. Rested for about a minute and then finished it out.
Wow.
And my time was 4 minutes and 10 seconds or so.
Wow.
It kicked my ass, and I sat down for about 15 or 20 minutes, and then the other guys did the same thing, and all of them. I mean, that was a tough workout.
Yeah.
And then we did 100 kettlebell swings, you know, American or Russian kettlebell swings. So I only used the 16 kilo ball, and I did all 100 without stopping, and that took me 2 minutes and 30 seconds.
And for the listeners out there that don't know how old you are,
I'm 72.
okay, so you really all don't have many excuses. Okay.
No, we worked, you know, the geezers, my oldest geezer's 83, and on his 83rd birthday, he did 100 nonstop push-ups. Yeah. My second oldest is 75, I believe it is, and he did, you know, I don't know how many burpees he did in a half an hour, but he did a significant number.
Who was that?
That was Terry McFadden.
Oh.
And then they go all, it ranges. We got 3 of us are born within a day of each other, the same month, you know.
So you do like 300 in the same?
We can.
birthday
I mean,
month?
yeah, so those guys will do 100, 100, 100. But I mean, we got stuff going now where, you know, the ball slams seem to be the best bang for the buck.
Yeah.
Something the geezers can do. And, you know, and so we're working up different workouts where, you know, where we can all do them and, you know, have fun doing it and really get our cardiovascular system moving and try to stay healthy.
That's good.
And we got one guy that's a geezer who's still snatching and clean and jerking, you know. And Tim Thurman, yeah. So.
Oh, he's doing the split snatching.
No, he does squat snatches and regular snatches, yeah.
Oh, speaking of split snatchers, I had one of your former athletes on the podcast last, Josh Everett. I was making fun of him for his split snatching technique at one point. However, I was still pretty jealous. I was confused most of the time. I was like, I don't get it.
Why can you lift so much weight like that?
Like,
I don't understand.
How does that work?
Well, that's probably a great story that I'm sure he related to.
Yeah.
But
he told me the other story, though, about how you introduced him into CrossFit. But he apparently did 21, 18, 15, 9, 6, 3 of just something miserable.
Oh, yeah. They were miserable.
And it was just him and Stefan.
And Stefan and then Greg Almason.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I would, you know, Glassman would call me up and he'd say, you know, geez, this is what Greg did.
Mm-hmm.
And then I'd pass it on to Josh and Stefan, and they would go nuts. But we're going to beat that.
Yeah.
You know. And then after about the 3rd or 4th time, Stefan said, "Okay, I'm done with this." But then it became Josh, and it became, you know, Greg.
Yeah.
Do you know Stefan?
I do. He actually taught my level 1.
Okay, you know he used to babysit me.
What?
He used to babysit me and Cody. Whenever my dad and mom would go out of town, he would come and stay and babysit us.
That tall, like, lanky man. That man is by far one of. I mean, you're a very nice coach, but you yell at me.
He's so nice. He can get scary sometimes, though.
Yeah, I did see a little bit of twinkle of anger in his eyes.
Yeah. And then I went and babysat his kids, so it's like comes full circle.
It's totally full circle now.
Yeah.
So it's like the circle of life with children and stuff. I mean, okay, so speaking of CrossFit, you introduced those ones to CrossFit. How did you get introduced to CrossFit? Like, what was your CrossFit workout, I guess?
I remember I actually don't remember the very first workout I did because I blacked out, but I think it was Dating Sage.
Mm-hmm.
My dad came up with this workout, Dating Sage. I think it was 5 rounds.
Like, boys had to do this to date her?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah, so I think I was like 12 or 13 when it came out. It was like 5 hang snatches, 10 dumbbell thrusters, and 15 pull-ups for 5 rounds.
I really like that Cindy rep scheme.
Yeah.
Good rep scheme.
And I had just been Olympic weightlifting, but I played all sorts of sports growing up. And I did that workout, and I was laid out right there on that little tile floor over there for about 20 minutes afterwards, just having multiple conversations with God. Just what happened to me, where am I, who am I, what is life, the normal things we ask ourselves in CrossFit workouts.
I usually just am making weird noises in my head. I don't even talk anymore. It's just, But
I don't even think I knew I was doing a CrossFit workout.
Yeah.
My dad was just like, hey, try this workout. It's called Dating Sage. It'll be for any of the boys who try to date you. And then...
I feel like that's a commonality with like how you introduce workouts to people now. Try this.
Yeah.
It's fine.
So then I continued to do other sports, but my junior year of high school, I decided I just wanted to do weightlifting and try to get a scholarship for weightlifting to Northern Michigan University. So I actually got that full ride scholarship, went over there for a semester.
Yeah.
Northern Michigan is freaking cold.
I mean, it's not California.
It's
So.
definitely not California. Super diva with weather, apparently, being a Southern California girl. And just diva in general. But went over there for a semester, froze my ass off, was homesick, was dumb. But I ended up actually injuring my hip when I was over there. And so when I moved back home, my parents were like, you just gave up a full ride scholarship. You're not coming and living back at home. And I was like, I didn't want to anyways. And so... So right around the same time, CJ Martin had actually branched off from CrossFit San Diego and was opening CrossFit Invictus.
Okay.
And so he reached out and said, your dad said you're moving back to San Diego. I'm going to need an Olympic weightlifting coach. Yeah. Would you be interested in being a part of our gym? And I said, absolutely. This is perfect timing. Yeah. And so I couldn't lift really because of my hip, but I could do CrossFit because of the variety of movements. It didn't really irritate my hip as much. And that was when they started adding in the team portion to the CrossFit Games. Yeah. And so he was like, hey, we're going to do this thing called the Affiliate Cup at Aromas. Do you want to try to make the team? And so that's when I started doing CrossFit competitively. And then just kind of stuck with it ever since then. Yeah.
So what are you doing now, specifically?
Who knows? It depends on the day.
What are you doing, Sage?
It depends on the day, how good of sleep I get, what kind of mood I'm in.
Well, I mean, like, I know currently, based off your Instagram, because you're following a certain program right now. You're following the Legacy Athlete program, and then you're also doing you're writing the programming right now for CrossFit Weightlifting, correct? Yeah. So I mean, those are the two things you're doing currently.
Yeah. So I am following Legacy Athlete, and I would say I'm competing CrossFit. We just did the team portion for Granite Games, which was a super fun competition.
With Legacy, right?
Yeah, with the Legacy Athlete crew. And then now kind of taking like an emotional break from CrossFit and trying to qualify for American Open final. We'll see how that goes.
CrossFit do you wrong.
Yeah, just like, toys with my emotions every so often, so I have to give myself a little emotional break.
You can always hang out with the geezers every Monday, Wednesday, Friday.
They would kick my ass. I don't think I could hang with them.
I can only wish to be that when I get to that age.
Yeah,
so, I mean, we're getting pretty close to the end of the podcast. So what I usually do at the end is I ask each person the very simple question of what drives you? Like, what drives you every day? What gets you up in the morning? And, just what's that specific thing that drives you that you can think of off the top of your head? So what drives you, Coach?
Well, I think, just getting out of bed in the morning and, my ritual, I'm a very ritualistic person. I like getting up at the same time. I have my alarm set at 05:30. I get up, I go down and, do all the stuff that I got to do, and then have coffee and, maybe read or watch the news or whatever, and then wait for the day to unfold. And on Monday, Wednesday, and Fridays at 8 o'clock, we come out here and start working out till on Monday and Friday until about 10:30, and then the geezers will sit around and we'll bullshit each other for about another half an hour. Then, you have lunch, and then maybe I'll go over to the beach or go shopping or visit CrossFit boxes. And on Tuesday and Thursdays, same thing. The same ritual takes place, except now I'm walking on the beach and in Carlsbad and visiting 3 or 4 CrossFit boxes just to go in and say hello and doing that. Now, as you get older, you're looking for things to do. So I do a lot of studying. I still watch video. I still study programming. I still like to be involved in seeing things like that. So a lot of my time is spent on answering emails, looking at people's videos that send me videos and wanting help, offline. And we don't charge. I don't charge for it. They send me videos and I'll tell them what I see and what I think. And so, that's pretty much my day. And then on the weekends, my wife and I'll maybe go walk on the beach or take a trip or do whatever. Traveling a little bit, but not as much as I used to.
Yeah. You're very disciplined, and you have that good, mentality for that.
Yeah, my discipline's never been a problem. I'm very disciplined. And once I set a goal for myself, then I have no issues with, getting the discipline done to achieve the goal.
Yeah. So it's great to hear, Coach. I can only try to be that good. What about you, Sage? What drives you?
Well, I love that question.
Thanks.
And I could get super deep, but I will try
not to.
Get
as deep as you need to.
Yeah, without crying.
I mean, hold it in. Your dad's right here.
No, I feel for the past 5 or 6 years or so, I really sort of disconnected from myself and who I am and who I wanted to be. Mm-hmm. And I had an epiphany about a year or so ago where I just was tired of my own bullshit and playing victim in my life and giving myself excuses and blaming external sources for, my anxiety, my depression. And so I just made a conscious decision that I wasn't going to be in denial about those things anymore. Yeah. And so I think what drives me is just to wake up every day and be hyper aware of who I am and how I want to represent myself for myself, but also for my kids and for my family, and just try to be a little bit better than who I was and try to just fight those innate shortcomings that I tend to have by just calling myself out. And I want to be a great representation for my own athletes as well and help them call themselves out on their bullshit.
Yeah.
And if we can all just be honest with each other and with ourselves, then I think that's that you can't ask for anything more than that. So I think that's what drives me.
Good. Nice.
What about you, Abdul?
We're not on that podcast right now. We don't have to talk about that right now. But thank you guys for doing this for me or with me. Where can everybody find you guys? Is there any specific Instagrams or hashtags you want them to follow, Coach?
Yeah, I think it's at Mike Burgener on Instagram, and I think Twitter as well.
You Twitter? Use Twitter?
No, I don't even know if anybody does use Twitter.
I mean, I don't know.
Well, it's out there because I go Instagram, but you have a dot that you can click, and for Facebook and Instagram, I'm very rarely. In fact, I don't go to Facebook anymore very often.
You're pretty good with the lives. Yeah. I always like to jump in on your live feeds.
Yeah, the Instagram is pretty much where we hang out, and it's it's at Mike Burgener at that, and then my email address is my name, MikeBurgener@mac.com. And then, my phone number where you could text me if you wanted to is 760-535-1835.
Write that down.
Yeah. So, I mean, I get all the text, and I suggest that if you send me a video, send it to me at my email address, because the iPhone is good about being able to scroll through the video frame by frame and being able to pick out your faults that way.
So pretty open about going over stuff. I mean,
I tell people, I said, my wife is a yard Nazi, and she's going to make me work in the yard if I'm not busy.
I mean, that's why we're doing this podcast too, right?
Exactly.
Save him from pulling weeds.
What? No, he's got stuff on the trigger.
Exactly.
And stuff more with our business is at CrossFit Weightlifting or at CrossFit Weightlifting is the Instagram, and then hashtag Burgener Strength. Mm-hmm. We also have a YouTube channel that's not super active right now. We're
working on that.
We're working on that, making steps towards developing that. But you can find a lot of instructional videos on there.
You guys also have a Burgener Strength Challenge, a weekly challenge currently, right?
Yep, hashtag Burgener Strength or the Burgener Way Challenge.
Yeah.
I should probably know that hashtag.
Burgener Weight Challenge, that one.
Hashtag the Burgener Weight Challenge.
What is it this week? Do you remember?
I didn't do one this week.
Okay.
Yeah. Last week, I already forgot what it was. I think it was tall snatches.
Yeah, it was.
Last week,
Yeah.
so.
That's good. Okay, and then obviously for the Burgener team, just Burgener Strength. Or hashtag Burgener Strength.
Hashtag Burgener Strength,
Everybody else on there. That's
Yeah.
good. Cool beans. Thanks, guys.
Thank you,
Yeah,
Abdul.
thanks, everyone.
Yay!
Yay! What drives you?
We're not going on that subject yet.